to triumph. I'm your host, Diana Min, and I'm here with our special guest today, Precious Swaine, who is a motivational speaker and an author, and I'm so happy to have her join us here. Thank you so much, Precious, for being here with us today.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for those of you guys that don't know Precious, I'm going to let her introduce herself and just tell you guys about who she is, what she does, and the amazing work that she's been doing in the world.
Hello, I am Precious Swaine. I'm just kind of me. I'm an author, I'm a motivational speaker, and I come from the dirt is the best way I can put it. So many times in life we have different things go on where we think we can't or don't deserve to do certain things. And so what I do in my daily work is I try to motivate and inspire and educate people on how to, no matter where they've come from, make it to find greatness in their self so they can find success in business.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your journey, because I know, just saying you come from the dirt, I get it. I come from the mud. And and I know it's like people are like, they're like, how? That journey, it's such a personal, like internal journey as much as it becomes like an external manifestation of that journey, right? So if you can, let's start from where, you can pick whichever point you want to start at, but I know your story is pretty amazing and incredible. So I would love to share with the audience the journey that you took from starting in the mud to being the motivational speaker and author that you are today.
Well, the story is really long, so I'm gonna chop it real short for you.
Okay, all right.
I come from heroin addicted parents. Wow. And so when you have parents that are addicted, you go through things like molestation, abandonment, and different things of that nature, which make you act out a certain way. So at 15, I left home. As a teenager, I forced myself to finish high school. I forced myself to go to college. But the means to do that without parents is a little different than if you have guidance. So I took the street route. And because I wasn't really voluptuous as a teenager, the whole prostitution and things like that kind of weren't the option that I took. I went into selling drugs. At that time, drugs were, crack was hitting the street and different things were going on. And so I got caught up in that lifestyle. With that lifestyle brought on a lot of other different negative things and men, and then you go through a different verbal abuse and rape and different things like that. So there were times that I thought I would never make it to be anything, despite the fact I had a degree, despite the fact that I had goals and dreams, because you get caught up. And through prayer and research and sitting down and realizing that I was important, I had to eliminate everything else. I couldn't lean on the excuse of what I didn't have or what I didn't get growing up. I had to decide going forward that whatever I didn't have, I was going to provide for my children. And so when I say that, people think, oh, money. No, my grandparents had money. It wasn't money that I really missed. It was love. It was attention. It was, you can do it. It was that type thing. So I had to change me. Yeah. And so in the process of changing me, I had to face me. I had to go through the point of saying, hey, the hair, the nails, none of that makes you beautiful. You're a very ugly person inside. Mm-hmm. Some of us aren't that transparent, but I had to look at me and say, hold on, girl, you are ugly. Mm-hmm. The makeup doesn't cover it. You have a bad attitude. You have a bad mouth. You have a bad disposition. Mm-hmm. So who cares if you have a Louis Vuitton purse? When you open your mouth, do you draw people or do you push people? Mm. And so I began to realize that I was mirroring the image that I was trying to get away from. And I didn't even have an excuse because I wasn't addicted to anything. And that's what clicked in my mind. Hey, I am not that. I don't have to reflect that. And I'm going to be something different. not only am I going to be something different, I'm going to show other little girls who's been through these same things that you're not trash, that you're not damaged goods, that you can make it. And when you decide in yourself that you're going to, you will.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the story.
Oh man, I know there's so much more depth to I mean, you put it so well. It's like you had to face yourself, and that process is not easy. I
Mm-mm.
feel like I run into people, the majority of people have been running from themselves most of their lives, right? Which is what the way society is kind of built in order for people to distract themselves from doing the work and going within, right? It's like, buy this, and like you said, the Louis Vuitton purse, and get your nails done and get your hair done and do all this stuff. I know I have my hair done today, but I did the inner work first, I promise. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's like to focus on the external stuff so that you can avoid the internal stuff, which is where it all needs to start first. And I think, I can relate too, because early on in my career, growing up in New York City, like I chased money. Like everything was about the money, the bags, the shoes, the vacations, and all the external things that I thought were going to define me as far as my status and who I was, right? And I was miserable. And it wasn't until I gave all that up did I really start to find myself, and what is it that, who am I? Like, what makes me happy, and what are the things that I'm trying to use these material things to fill the void, right? And that pain inside. And a lot of things that I teach my clients is about, like, the only way out is through, and we do have to go through our darkness in order to get to that light. And it sounds like you really did the work to get there.
I had no other choice. It was me being a false me and dying in that. And I don't mean a physical death. I
Right.
mean an emotional, a life of unhappiness. Because people think when you have money that you're happy, but they don't realize there's some things that money just can't buy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so growing up, Florida sun has me decent tan, but growing up, I was real light and with all this fluffy, curly, mixed kid hair. So
Mm.
when you have that, you become what's called a trophy chick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not that guys really like you, but they want to be seen with you because you're yellow with all this hair. And
Yeah.
so you get a false sense of I'm all that. No, it's a facade, and they're gonna go do this with the other one, but you looked good for that date. And part of the reason, because a lot of people say, well, why do you cover your hair now? I haven't transcended into a different religion or anything that requires it. I cover it because I don't want it to draw attention. I want people to listen and understand, hear my heart. Don't get caught up in the, oh, did you get your makeup from MAC? Or, oh, your hair. No, hear what I'm saying to you, because if you listen, you'll learn it's bigger. What is your legacy going to be when you leave? Will anybody remember anything you said?
Right.
I mean, I don't even mean on a popularity standpoint. I mean, just your family. Will they look back and say, you know what? I can do this because she told me I can, or she showed me how to.
Mm-hmm.
Or will they just be like, oh, they were fun at barbecues? You know? And so when I go to speak and when I do coaching sessions, the coaching sessions are a little different than people expect because I'm really, really transparent with people. And so the first thing we do is we sit down and we sit in bean bags because we need to be comfortable. This is going to be comfortable, and we're just going to talk real. You don't have to be proper. You don't have to be prim. If you need to curse, I'm not offended, but let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing we address is, are you happy with you? Because until you're happy with you, you won't be happy with anything else. Do you love you? Because you can't get a husband, get a wife, get a this, get a that. If you don't love you, how are you going to love them?
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't learned to love you, how is that impacting your children? And so those are the things that I mainly hit on. My book series is the story of my life. It's Who Says a Princess Can't Come from the Ghetto. And so many people think that they can't, but they can, and they do.
Yeah.
And if the spotlight isn't on them, like an Oprah or something, then nobody realizes it can really happen. But you can be successful as an accountant, as a lawyer, as people that don't make the news, who don't
Yeah.
go on TV,
Yeah.
if you just focus. And so I deal a lot with women who have been molested because people count them off, and please excuse the way I said that, as whores. They don't realize that their body is addicted to the different touches and the different feelings, and they look for that because they now take the devil that they know and find comfort in the devil that they know. It's easier than finding a new one. And so when they begin to realize, because some people don't even know because they were so young, the repressed memory hides it, then you have to break that ice down. And maybe you do this because of this. But if you refocus this and allow yourself to heal, you can have a healthy relationship. You can, calm down, or however you want to say it. You can do these things. And so that's what I try to work with our young women about.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Precious. I feel so deeply in my heart everything that you're speaking of. Wow. It's very, very deep work that you're doing, because those wounds are deep. And just even relating to the fact that you said what is it? You're familiar with the devil that you know, right? Or you choose the devil that you know. And
Yeah.
and I can totally relate to that because, growing up, I was, I suffered a lot of child abuse. And so I didn't realize then when I went into my relationships why all my partners were physically abusive, or mentally, or verbally, or you know what I mean, emotionally. And it wasn't until the same thing like you said, to go within and really to inspect the layers of these wounds and our patterns, right, and our reactions and all of these things, and the energy in which we attract
Yes.
things that we know, like, and I had to really do that work to break that cycle. And I think and we're never done working on ourselves, right? But I think I've really gotten to a point where I've finally broken free from that devil that I used to know. And
Yes.
so I know that work that you do with women is life-changing and incredibly impactful, because a lot of people, like you said, they don't even realize, they can't even see outside of themselves, and have a coach and to have somebody that supports you to be able to point out those blind spots and then help you overcome these really like ingrained patterns in our subconscious. It's I don't even have words for it. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful work. It really is. So thank you for sharing that. Wow. So tell me a little bit about how, okay, so once you were able to do the work on yourself, and once you were able to, go within and start to heal yourself, and really, like you said, bring light into the darkness, right? And you've started to kind of come out and be like, when were you were like, okay, I need to help other women, or I need to, like, what was that journey like?
To be very honest, it's kind of funny. I was very apprehensive in going into it because my motto was always, I don't trust females. And so the funny thing about this
Me
is
too.
I felt that way because of my experience with my mother.
Right.
And part of the breakdown process I had to face, you don't trust women because you don't trust your mother.
Yeah.
You didn't trust your aunties because you heard them talk about your mother behind her back. And you built up this, and you think every woman is them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was apprehensive. And so people would come across my path and just talk to me. I could be in the grocery store and not even know the person. They would just talk to me.
Yeah.
And I would be like, well, I don't really want to talk, but I guess I better talk because they're talking to me. And it kind of tricked me. I kind of started helping women by accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so once I realized that, I started on the porch pretty much. I went from that to the women in the neighborhood, the women that I would encounter daily, just being honest with them. Hey, do you really want to know what I see? Do you really know what you can do to get out of this? Do you really want to know? Let's break it down. And even if you have to be the candy lady that's selling pickles, even if you have to take in laundry, let's see what we can do to get you off welfare. Let's see what we can do to get you off food stamps. Okay, you live in Section 8. The difference in what real rent would be compared to your Section 8, put it in the savings. Let's see how quickly we can get you into a house. And at that point, I still was kind of off track with myself in, am I really helping people? I'm thinking I'm just giving some advice. And then when I went into ministry, and they were like, you're a female minister for women. No, I'm not. I'm for kids. Okay, I don't like kids. And more young women. It seemed like younger and younger I was running into the broken woman stage. And so I began to realize that broken women started at 5. They didn't wait till they became women to be broken women. They were broken little girls. Yeah. And so the broken women that we were dealing with were really the shells of the broken little girl that didn't heal.
Oh, that's so real.
Yeah. And so in dealing with that, it just kind of, people started inviting me to come speak. And because they would invite me to come, and I was a minister, I couldn't say no. And so I would go. And then I began to realize a lot of these were not church functions per se. A lot of these were community events and events they were throwing to help women move from welfare to work and just different things like this. But I didn't say no. I still didn't say no. I still kept going. Yeah. And when I released the books, people started emailing me and asking me all kind of questions. And I was like, I'm trained in ministry. I'm trained in accounting. My degree is in accounting. I went back to school to be a paralegal. I'm a psychologist. And then I said, wait a second. Whatever it is, it's natural, but you have to nurture it. And so then I said, okay, I'll start off just going and taking a few mental health classes. And from there, I said, okay, I'm going to become a certified life coach. Yeah. Because I still didn't necessarily want to be a social worker or anything like that, because then there's too many rules. You can't be as transparent. You have to go by the book. Yeah. And sometimes the book causes you to maybe not necessarily what they would consider lie, but kind of lie. You don't really tell people where they're really at because you're scared of where it may really push them, but really they need to know. And so when I started life coaching for the first 2 years, it was free. I never charged anybody. Wow. I didn't even know how to charge them, to be honest. By hour, by a set, I just didn't, because that was not my field of expertise. Yeah. But I couldn't get away from it. And so even now, a lot of times I'll charge for sessions, but a lot of times I won't. I feel like it's my giving back gift because somebody didn't make it this far. Somebody didn't come through all of that and have the strength to tell it. Yeah. So it's kind of mixed in with the ministry, something I'm obligated, because how can I be a woman of 50 and not give back to the woman behind me? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. How can I say proudly, I'm a strong woman of stature and I haven't helped anybody to get to where I'm at? Absolutely. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of how it started. The books just kind of elevated it. But the books were part of my healing process. Right. Because you have to let it go. You have to let it go. And some people write a diary. Some people write it and burn it. Some people never say anything at all. But I felt the best way to let it go was to use it to help someone else heal. Wow, that's beautiful. So after this, you need to send me the address so I can send you the series. Yes. Because you I think you would enjoy it. Yeah. Because it's very urban. Mm-hmm. I didn't try to make it with all the degrees. I didn't try to be, I'm very artistic.
Yeah. I had to who you were speaking to.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
so I talked about how we get these men that make money in alternative fashions,
Hmm.
and we dress up and we plump up and we do everything to get them. But our whole persona was a lie because we just wanted them to pay a bill.
Yeah.
And then when we find out that they lied,
Hmm.
then we want to blast them.
Yeah.
But how do we find strength in ourselves and tear down our men?
Mm.
You know what I mean? I talk. So it's not just fully about women. I talk about how what we do impacts the men around us, the children around us. How if we expect more from them, we have to pull back and look and see: are we being the woman we should be, or are we trying to wear the pants and the dress?
Mm.
Because we can't expect him to wear the pants if we take them from him.
Right. Right.
You know, just it's just different things. I really think you'll enjoy it, so I really want to send it to you.
Yeah.
And I want to say my most recent book in that series is on domestic violence,
Wow.
and tell some very transparent stories of things that have really happened, because some women, especially urban women, feel like because they hit back or they fought that they weren't abused.
Hmm.
If you're raised to fight, you think you're fighting. You
Right.
don't realize he was not supposed to hit you in the first place.
Right.
And so, and it has a lot of resources in it, but I just really try to encourage and empower all women. I'm not really color based,
Hmm.
you know, and I can't be, because when you're multiracial, how can you?
Yeah.
What side do you take? You know what I mean? What side do you take? So what I learned as a coach is that abuse is colorblind.
Yeah.
Molestation is colorblind. Rape is colorblind. It's something that impacts all of us.
Hmm.
And so I really hope that in your journey with your show, that the women are really tapping in and drawing from you everything that you're putting out to offer.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they know how hard you work to set up these interviews and to get this information from different people.
Yeah.
But I have to commend you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Precious. And, you know, I feel so connected to you, you know, just in this short time that we've been talking. You know, I see such a beautiful reflection of an empowered woman that has, you know, been through the depths of hell to overcome so much and to really put your heart out there to be of service to others and to use that pain to really help heal others and to lead other people through that journey. It's really it, it's it's a divine purpose, you know, that I see that you've done. You know, just even mentioning the ministry, I understanding that like you were placed in your journey to experience the things you did, so that because you were strong enough to handle it, because you were smart enough to then turn it around, because you had the wisdom to then share that light in order to help lead other women to their own healing, to their back to their truth and back to their wholeness. And that's a divine purpose that is, no one was going to stop you, you know, doing that. And that's so funny for you to say you fell into it by accident. That was planned. This is your assignment. You have been given this mission, you know, and you fulfilled it
Yeah.
beautifully, and you continue to do that with your beautiful message and your light and your heart that I feel so potently through this call. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm like literally like getting emotional just listening to you, because I'm like, yes, I'm gonna sign up for whatever it is you got going on, because this is just beautiful. I love it. And yeah, you know, I think that's the mark of a true healer and a leader, is really going into the darkness, learning how to transmute that trauma, and like we said, you know, like the name of this interview series, really transforming it into triumph and creating something from it, and not allowing it to consume you and be a victim, you know, of your circumstances, as much as we have been, right? But not staying one. And I think a huge pivotal point in a lot of my journey and the journey that I see with my clients is really having them own that I no longer am a victim, because you were a victim in that moment, but sometimes we end up becoming a victim for, you know, much
Mm.
longer than we need to be, right? And really
Yeah.
taking your power back and using it in a way that's going to bring more love into this world, which you definitely have done. So thank you
Oh,
so
well, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. This has been amazing. I am so honored that you invited me. And I know I told you I would do the sessions, but I'm going to go online and make the Kindle version of the abuse book available also for your listeners,
Oh,
so
beautiful.
that they can grab it on Kindle for free, because it's information sometimes in different walks. Like I said, they don't realize they're being abused. They don't realize. They think they're just fighting, and some end up dead because they never realized they should have got away.
Mhm. Absolutely. So thank you
And
so much. Oh wait, sorry, continue. What were you saying?
no, that's okay.
Well, I was just gonna say, I know. Thank you so much for offering your book for free. What is the title of it, so they know
A
how to?
victim no more.
One more time.
A victim no more.
A Victim No More on Amazon. You can download it on Kindle for free. That's Precious's amazing gift to our audience that's listening today. Don't, if you are struggling or if you're going through any type of dark phase in your life, I'm sure that any one of Precious's many books will be able to help guide you through that journey. And Precious is also so generous that she's also going to be offering a secondary free gift to our listeners. I'll let you share what you'll be giving to them.
Well, for the first 30 that reach out, I will do a free 30-minute coaching session for each of them. And because they came from the show, even after, we'll work out whatever. We'll do it budget based. They don't have to have a big budget. They don't have to worry about what the actual cost is. We're going to make it work if that's something that they want. And they can reach out to me directly, or they can reach out to you. But the email address that they can reach out to is preciouswaine@gmail.com. It comes right to my phone. My assistant or nobody else checks that for me. I check it myself. If they don't feel comfortable calling or having an actual Zoom session, we can do via email or text. But I'm here to support not just women, men also, anyone who wants to come out of the shell. It's time for us to come out of the shell. We're watching people riot in the street, kill each other in the street, and we're saying Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, Make America Great. But what we really have to focus on, if we want to see anything great again, if we want to see any life matter again, is start each individual, because then it'll spread. If I'm nice to you, you're not going to just be mean to me unless you're a terrible person, because it's going to make you feel bad about yourself if someone is genuinely kind to you and you are just a butt. Mm-hmm. So if we begin to show and radiate love and affection towards each other, mm-hmm. especially the more minority people, we have a tendency to get into a rut like, woe is me. Yeah. Nobody owes us anything. Nobody owes us anything. We have to get up and earn, just like everybody else, our respect or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that all lives matter. I do believe Black lives matter, but I believe all lives matter. And I believe part of the problem, how can we expect people to respect our men if we don't? That's a whole different topic. A whole different situation. But
I'll create another series about that.
But that is just, it's some things we need to deal with, but it's part of, because we're in pain. Yeah. So we take it out. We lash out. We don't know any better.
Yeah. Yeah. A big quote that I always think of is, hurt people hurt people. Mm-hmm. You know, hurt. Yeah. And you can't, if you're in a place of love and joy and gratitude and compassion and kindness, there's no way that you can go out and physically hurt someone else. But if you're in resentment and anger and fear and all of those lower vibrational emotions, that's where, you know, you will create more of that into the world and project that out into the people around you. So it is, like you said, it does start with yourself. It starts with the relationship you have with yourself is then reflected in the relationships that you have with others. So it does start with looking within and healing the wounds and the pain, and not being afraid to dive deep into that darkness to see what needs to be released. Because I think a lot of times too, when we talk about healing, right, what we're really talking about is attachment to the pain, the
Mhm.
trauma. We're holding on to it because we've actually immersed ourselves in it as part of our identity. And I think, you know, as I've healed too, there was a huge part of my journey of understanding that I had to release it from who I was. It was part of who I was for so long, until I was finally like, no, this is not part of who I am, and really able to separate the trauma and the identity, and
Yeah,
then finding the true self outside of what's happened to you, you know. So yeah.
exactly. Exactly. It's a beautiful feeling though.
It is. Yeah. So Precious, thank you so much. I could talk to you for hours. It's been such a pleasure. You know, I hope that you guys that were listening to this really felt the love that came through this transmission, because it was potent and the medicine is so pure. And yeah, we will be sharing Precious's email with you guys. It should come up in the email that you guys got this interview in, or it will come up as a link right here, transformingtraumatotriumph.com/precious, where we'll have all of her information as well. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode, and we will see you for another one tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. Bye.